Welcome to the next installment of the Train Weeker. Today's video is about the Chocolat Express to the Cailler Chocolate Factory in Broc, Switzerland. Some of you may know that we are currently in the time of Lent, traditionally the period when Christians prepare themselves to remember the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus. Now, during Lent, it was considered that we should be a bit somber and maybe not eat some foods like, for example, eggs, which were just a bit too luxurious. So that's why on Shrove Tuesday, eggs were made into pancakes and eaten for the last time until Easter, of course, when they were consumed in great quantities again. Or some said that meat shouldn't be eaten during Lent, though a few people made an exception on Sundays. And, well, since its exists, chocolate really seemed very luxurious, and it generally wasn't eaten during Lent, but of course, then at Easter time. Well, clearly at some point, the rules all got too much. After all, both Jesus and then later on Paul again said that all these rules about food did not serve living a faithful life. However, there's something to be said for the wisdom of doing without something for a bit of time and enjoying it all the more later on. And if there's one food that's really enjoyable, well, it's chocolate. What better way to experience chocolate than going to a chocolate factory? In Switzerland, you can visit a few chocolate factories. One of the more famous ones is the Cailler factory in Broc. There's even the Chocolat Express that takes you directly from Bern to Broc. The Chocolat Express consists of former SBB Swiss Federal Railways Class 560 rail cars with driving trailers and intermediate domino carriages. They are now owned by the Fribourg Public Transport Agency. The trains have got a special design highlighting their role of bringing passengers to the chocolate factory. Internally, it's also quite obvious that you are on the Chocolat Express. It certainly gets the appetite going. Then the train passes over the river La Sarine, and we are in the French-speaking part of Switzerland. The train stops at the foot of the medieval town of Romont, with its city wall and castle up on the hill. At Romont, the train turns southeast towards Bulle. From the city walls of Romont, there's a great view of the train passing through the landscape of Fribourg. And then the train arrives at the Cailler Chocolate Factory in Broc. The factory building is quite distinctive. The tour is interesting. You can watch as the famous Cailler branches are made, a praline stick with a creamy hazelnut filling. Cailler was taken over by Nestle in 1929, but it continues to produce high-quality chocolate under the Cailler brand. Of course, the highlight of the tour is the chocolate tasting, and if you do that properly, There's so much more to chocolate than meets the eye. As far as sweet foods go, chocolate is clearly among the best. That's why for well over a century now, chocolate has been associated with Easter. As I said, there has been a long tradition of going without something during Lent as we come towards Easter. On Good Friday, that is also clearly felt in churches where there is little decoration and the services are somber. While I do prefer Easter morning services rather than an Easter vigil on the Saturday night, there is something quite unique about those night services. They begin very somber and quiet, and then suddenly all heaven breaks loose. The organ bells out, majestic music, the bells ring, decoration appears in the church. It is this contrast between the quiet and the celebration. The joy of Easter in that contrast is evident. And so, as you come towards Easter, I would suggest that going without something for a little while can bring out the joy at having such a sweet, all the more once you come to Easter. In any case, I do hope that at Easter you can enjoy chocolate and remember the joy of the resurrection.